The situation in Palestine is a complex and deeply entrenched issue that has spanned decades' historical background. The roots of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict can be traced back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Zionist and Arab nationalist movements gained momentum. The Balfour Declaration of 1917, issued by the British government, expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, which was then under Ottoman rule. After World War I and the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Britain assumed control of Palestine, leading to increased tensions between Jewish and Arab communities. The United Nations approved the partition plan in 1947, which sought to create separate Jewish and Arab states. This plan was accepted by Jewish leaders, but rejected by Arab states and Palestinian leaders, leading to the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war resulted in the establishment of the State of Israel and the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs. The 1967 Six-Day War. In 1967, another pivotal event occurred when Israel launched a preemptive strike against its Arab neighbors in response to perceived threats. Israel's swift victory in the Six-Day War led to its occupation of the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. These territories are at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, as well as the ongoing Golan Heights dispute with Syria. The Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. The Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, was founded in 1964 with the goal of achieving the liberation of Palestine. It initially focused on armed struggle, but its approach evolved over time. Yasser Arafat emerged as the PLO's most prominent leader and was recognized as the legitimate representative of the Palestinian people by the United Nations. The Oslo Accords. The Oslo Accords, signed in 1993 between Israel and the PLO, marked a significant shift in the conflict. They established a framework for Palestinian self-government in parts of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. The accords included provisions for the withdrawal of Israeli forces and the holding of Palestinian elections. Settlements and occupation. One of the central issues in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. These settlements, considered illegal under international law, have been a major source of tension and a significant obstacle to peace negotiations, violence, and intifadas. The conflict has witnessed several waves of violence, including the First Intifada, 1987-1993, and the Second Intifada, 2000-2005. These periods of upheaval resulted in significant loss of life and deepened mutual mistrust. Hamas and Gaza. Hamas, an Islamist political and military organization, won the Palestinian legislative elections in 2006. Fatah, the party of Yasser Arafat, contested the results, leading to a violent split between the West Bank, where Fatah retained control, and Gaza, where Hamas took over. Gaza has since been under a strict Israeli blockade, with occasional flare-ups of violence, including the 2008-2009 Gaza War, 2012 Operation Pillar of Defense, and 2014 Operation Protective Edge. Peace process and diplomacy. Efforts to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict have continued for decades. Key diplomatic initiatives include the Camp David Accords, 1978, the Madrid Conference, 1991, the Oslo Accords, 1993, the Camp David Thawd Summit, 2000, the Roadmap for Peace, 2003, and various rounds of direct and indirect negotiations. U.S. involvement. The United States has played a significant role in mediating the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It has been a staunch ally of Israel, providing extensive military and economic aid. The U.S. has also been involved in various peace initiatives, with different administrations taking different approaches. Arab-Israeli relations. Arab states have historically been hostile to Israel due to its treatment of Palestinians. However, in recent years, there has been a notable shift in some Arab countries' attitudes toward Israel, marked by the signing of the Abraham Accords in 2020, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab states. Status of Jerusalem. The status of Jerusalem is one of the most contentious issues in the conflict. Israel considers Jerusalem its undivided capital, while Palestinians seek East Jerusalem as the capital of a future Palestinian state. The international community generally does not recognize Israel's sovereignty over East Jerusalem, international law, and human rights. Numerous United Nations resolutions have condemned Israeli settlements and occupation, calling for a two-state solution. International bodies and human rights organizations have criticized both sides for violations of international law and human rights abuses. The road to peace. Achieving a lasting peace in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains a daunting challenge. The two-state solution, which envisions an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, has long been the internationally accepted framework for resolving the conflict. However, the expansion of settlements, continued violence, and political divisions among Palestinians have hindered progress. Efforts to bring both parties back to the negotiating table and overcome entrenched positions must address the core issues of borders, security, refugees, settlements, and the status of Jerusalem. Diplomatic initiatives should be guided by a commitment to a just and lasting resolution that respects the rights and aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians.